Hi, and thanks for watching another video from Bro Audio Development. This is Rick Perry for rickcperry.com. Today I've got this little project to do for a friend of mine. It's got some issues with the battery. It looks like it's had issues for a while. So we're going to attempt to disassemble this and replace the battery plug on it. He's taking this thing on the road with him, and they tour a lot. And with the electrical tape and everything, I'd say this thing's had it. He had a little small piece he handed me. He said, "Do you need this?" I said, "No, you can throw that away." So let's take this thing apart and see if we can repair it for him. This is some of the simple things that you can do if you work at your church, or if you have your own, tuners or pedals or stomps, whatever. Then you should be able to take these things apart and repair them, and I'm going to show you how. Okay, so now we've got it partially disassembled. I kind of reassembled it so I could show you how this works. You got two machine screws, one on each side here. Pull those off, and then this cover comes off. And then on the back side, you've got 4 screws here. And I had to pry this off slightly because it was in there pretty good. Then you get this little plastic piece. This just keeps the electronics from shorting to the plate. If you don't put it back, then it'll wear itself into the plate and short it out. Okay, now these AC plugs here are on the front, so pry the back up and then pull out, and then you get this piece out, and then there's the insides. So it's hard to work this way, without completely disassembling. Then what you want to do is this got, let me get a light on here. Okay, you'll see these little tabs here. To press those tabs in, and this switch should pull out. It's about time to put this camera on the tripod. Okay, so once you get the switch out, then this battery plug, you can see there's a zip tie, and this lets you pull a little bit more through. Now at first I was going to try to go all the way to the board and desolder it on the board, which is way over there. But I just bought this at Radio Shack, and I think it was Radio Shack, and the wires aren't long enough. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to where the zip tie is, and I'm going to cut and solder it on the back side back here. So the next time that I turn the camera on, this should be on the tripod, and I'll show you what's going to happen next. Okay, we're back now. I just wanted to show you, and we'll have to put the zip tie back on here. But for right now, we're just going to cut this one loose. I'm hoping I've got some zip ties around here. Yeah, so this pretty much gives me an idea that anywhere in this area here, we can cut it. And we'll choose right up here to give us plenty of room. I'm trying to do this with the camera in the way too. So strip a little bit back there. And there. Same way with the replacement piece. If you ever use these kind of strippers, this is Cornwell Tools, but this is a cool little stripper. It's got a cutter in it too. I don't use the cutter that often, and it's adjustable. So I kind of like this stripper. It works real good. So now I should be able to take this, and we'll just fan this out just a little bit on each side and put them together and give it a little twist. It's microsurgery here for big fat hands like mine. So that one's twisted up right there. And normally you do the second one. We'll try this one. Sometimes you get some small wiring and you'll pretty much just have to solder the first one before you can move the other one around, because it'll just keep pulling apart. And this one might do the same. Get a little strand there. Basically, I'm just taking the wiring and just putting them together like this and just twisting them all together, and that way it makes an inline piece. Let's see if I can do a zoom here. Show you what it looks like. Now when you drop the solder on that, then that'll be an inline solder connection, and when you put tape over it, it'll be roughly the same diameter as the wire was to begin with. I do that to pretty much all of my wiring. I just turned the soldering iron on. I don't know if it's hot enough yet. Let's see. It's kind of hot, but we'll see if it'll solder. So what I did is I put just a little dab of solder on the iron to transfer the heat, and then we'll lay it under the bottom, let it suck the heat in, and then add the solder. And that should be all we need. Let's see what it looks like. Yeah. Oh, lost the zoom. So there you go. Tight. Ready to go. So I'm going to get some tape out and I'll show you how I like to tape it. So I've got my tape, and I just wanted to show you that this is the Scotch Super 33 tape. I like Super 33 and Super 88. The 88's a little thicker, but the 33 will work just fine for this application. So I'm going to take a piece of tape, and I'm going to take it probably just a little longer than the actual splice, and I'll show you why. Okay, so I'm going to cut it. I like to cut my tape instead of ripping it, only because it doesn't stretch the vinyl and it doesn't want to unroll with you. So I'm going to take some scissors and I'm going to cut about a third of that off. Now I'm going to trim it to its final length, and I'll show you why I do this here in just a second. It'll make sense. It's not as bulky when you're done. So now most people would take the end of this tape, which by the way, if you have clean hands, then it doesn't take the stickiness off the tape as much. Alright, so normally people would take the tape and you'd put it on this way and you wrap it around the wire. Well, I do an inline tape, which I lay the tape this way, long ways, okay, and push it down on one side and then wrap it. And that's one good wrap around, and then I'll twist it same way that I twisted it before whenever I got the wires. And you see there's an inline piece of tape. This will have a tendency not to unroll or not to unravel if you wrapped it around the wire this way. This is very difficult to unravel, and I found that I like this more than the usual tape job. So you get my second piece of tape and cut it, and then slice it here, and I'm taking just a little piece off like that. So what I'm left with is I'm basically cutting about a third of the tape off. Is what I'm cutting off. And then I'll hold my connector up here and wrap it. Gives me about 2 wraps around. And then I'll twist it up And there we go. So now all I need is a zip tie right here, and I can put this back together, and we've just repaired this. So let me locate a zip tie and we'll put it all back together and we should be good to go. Here's my zip tie. And we'll take the zip tie and put it right at the very edge of the tape, which actually gives us about the same as the other one had, give or take. Hopefully we won't be giving more than take more. So we'll take it right and we'll pull it a little straight there. There we go. And that's just for strain relief. That's all that's for, just so that you don't pull on this and it pulls it loose from the board. So I've already put the back on it. I'm going to let him work on his Velcro. So all we have to do is push the wiring back down in the hole here, as long as we get the zip tie. There we go. In that little slot. If you can see that little slot right there. Now we take our switch, snap it in place. There we go. And now there's your strain relief. So that should work fine now. He'll have room to put his battery in there. Oh yeah, that'll work just fine. So now we put our lid back on. And this is the one that had the 2 machine screws. So come over here. Make sure you don't cross thread it. I wasn't cross threaded, I just didn't even have it near. Here, let me pull this and get this out of the way. Ooh, that's a little rough. I gotta work on that later. Should be able to tighten that down into here when you replace the battery. It seems like he's cross threaded it. Speaking of cross threading, okay, that one's in. If you can't run it in by finger tight, then you've got it cross threaded. If you get it this far and you're having to start to put a screwdriver on it, there's something wrong. Don't force it, because once you force it, it's over. See, it got a little stiff there and I backed off for a second. So there we go. That's both screws in. So now we'll just take our screwdriver and just snug these. Just a little bit, not much. Okay. There we go. So now I'm going to work on this. I don't know what I'm going to have to do to fix this, but he's got this. It's real tight, almost cross-threaded. So let me work on this and we'll be back. Okay, we're back. That didn't take long. Do a little plug here for WD-40. I keep a little small container of this in my tech box. It works great. So now this is just, perfect. So you pull it down there, run the screw in. There you go. All it needs is a battery now. So there you go. That's the repairing a battery plug on a tuner. So you can use this in any application that has these. You can pick these up at Radio Shack. You can buy them online, whatever, you know. But once you start having to put tape and stuff on it like this, then you pretty much just need to go ahead and replace it. So I hope that helps for you. If you got any questions about repairing these plugs, just send me a message or leave me a comment, and I'll be glad to answer them. You can come to my website, rickcperry.com. I don't know if I'm going to write a blog on this or not, but mostly I've just been doing vlogs, just doing the vlog on video. And So I hope this helps. Just subscribe to my YouTube channel, or you can go to my website and subscribe to my blogs through the feed burner, and we'll email you every time I write a blog. Okay, thanks for watching.